Hello, my name is Paapa Essiedu and I'm going to be playing Hamlet in the RSC's upcoming production of Hamlet. Okay, cool, I've got loads of questions here from lovely people who have asked things about the production, about me, so I'm going to try and answer them as honestly and interestingly as possible. So begin with Cats on Twitter. She asks, how did you start your acting career? Did you get spotted or audition for things? Peace. I started my acting career, I suppose, by going to drama school. I went to Guildhall Drama School in London and trained for 3 years. And that's where I kind of first hooked up with my agent and started auditioning professionally. But before going to drama school, I did the NYT, National Youth Theatre, which is like a brilliant way for, because I mean, I didn't grow up acting, I didn't grow up going to youth theatres or anything. So the National Youth Theatre is a brilliant way to kind of springboard yourself into meeting other people that like similar things. Emma Janey 82 from Instagram says, how does it feel taking on such an iconic role that some of the greats have performed in the past? And do you think you can bring a new interpretation to the role? Cheers, Emma. To be honest, I feel really excited about taking on a role like this. Hamlet's a kind of role that when you're at drama school, the first time you come into contact with Shakespeare, some of the language in this place, so famous, so iconic, and so brilliant that you're kind of gagging to play with it. And obviously, like, I suppose relatively in terms of people that have performed it recently, I'm relatively young, but I don't think you're ever really ready for it. And I think there's something that a young actor can bring to a character like this that could be really kind of new for our audiences. Because Hamlet himself, he's a student, he's 30 or anything less than 30. And you're looking at someone who's really kind of fighting to understand his connection to maturity in this world. He's discovering everything anew. He's growing up before the audience's eyes. So I think there's something really exciting and juicy to be found by having that youth really in the audience's face. So I mean, yeah, I really hope I can bring something new to the role, but come up to Stratford in March and maybe you'll see. RSC Student Ambassador, Alex Barash, is your Hamlet a dramatic departure from what we may have seen on stage before? Yeah, I think it's fair to say it probably is. Not my Hamlet, let's say our production of Hamlet. It's not like a radical reinterpretation. We haven't really like edited the story or the script that much. It's been kind of cut down, streamlined to make it like a thriller, so it's going to go like the clappers. I mean, we're still exploring it at the moment, but so far, some of the stuff that we've done really feels like it adds an added bite and a different perspective on a story that's been told in a whole plethora of different ways. Marianne from Twitter. When did Paapa realise he wanted to be an actor? And if he hadn't been an actor, what career would he have pursued? I was going to be a doctor. I had a place at UCL to study medicine, and my African mother was so excited. She was like, "Oh, my son, he's going to be a doctor." And then one day I came home and I was like, "Oh, Mum, I think I'm going to take a gap year, and I don't know, maybe become an actor." And she cried. But she got on board eventually, and I suppose it's gone all right so far, so that's kind of justified it. RSC Student Ambassador Jemima Mitchell, what's your first theatrical memory / first memory of Shakespeare? If you could play any Shakespearean role, male or female, what would it be and why? My first memory of Shakespeare was doing Romeo and Juliet when I was in GCSE English, and I hated it. I didn't really understand it. I mean, there's obviously something awful about being like on a Tuesday afternoon doing double English and being made to kind of trawl through these texts that you don't understand. And I think there's something about Shakespeare that really just gets added by doing it. So I remember the first time I did it at school. We did Macbeth in A-level drama, and just opened a whole different perspective to that text. It added a muscularity, a physicality, which allowed those stories to really rise in a way that I've really struggled to do when it was just on the page. Sheepwash96 on Instagram asks, do you feel being a black actor makes it harder for you to land leading roles in Shakespeare plays and plays in general? A really good question. I feel really kind of fortunate to have been offered the kind of opportunities that I've had so far in my career, and I'm really excited about them and moving forward in that kind of mold. But I do think that our industry is on the kind of early steps or on early steps of a long road that it needs to get on to really attain the kind of equality that reflects the society that we live in. I think theatre should always reflect the society that we live in. At the moment, I do think it's skewed towards a very certain cast and bracket. So, I mean, in terms of like ethnic minorities, in terms of disabilities, in terms of genders, in terms of this, it's more about the stories that are being told, I think, and the people telling those stories. But we also need to be bold. I think it can only help to tell the story for a new paradigm, for a new lens, because I think it will only help to allow more people to access it and access it in a more authentic way.